them heal. And I know that Carrie has the ideas to have workshops, and there are questions on their website and prompts that are going to help other people write out their poems and stories in a way that will be a little therapeutic. And I know that writing these were therapeutic for me, and they actually brought up more memories than I thought I had. I guess I buried a lot of stuff really deeply, which is sometimes necessary in order to go on. But, maybe this is a way forward for some people to heal, to get over some stuff that they had probably just ignored for a long time. I know the 2016 election brought out a lot of anger and a lot of fury, really, in many people that I know, including myself. But I didn't realize how deep that well really was until I started to tap it. And once you start to tap something like that, you really have to let it flow until it's empty. So it's kind of like almost a dangerous thing to get in there, but I think Carrie tapped into something, and I think it's pretty helpful.
I think that's you both are summarizing so good here. I just want to insert one thing I'm thinking about here. The stories that you tell in there, and I think will help other women speak up. But you're on the 2016 election, I think of the hypocrisy, the absolute hypocrisy of the women who would vote for that person. And I just can't imagine. I mean, how? And they call themselves Christians, they call themselves religious, and then they go and vote for him, and he ends up in the White House. And it's beyond belief. Okay. But yeah, and I think your book here and the anthology here, you're right. It by writing it down, it will help a lot of people release their feelings they've had, or suppressed feelings, and I can understand suppressed feelings to survive. What you're saying there, it's very, very interesting. Do you have our listening audience spans the world here, so. Other countries aren't as fortunate as the United States to be as far advanced yet. We have people that are in the Middle East. I spent 8 years living and working in the Middle East, and the poor women there, what they go through, it's just unfathomable. And could you? We have regular listeners out of the UAE and in Arabia even who speak English. Okay, they're educated enough. They've been allowed to have enough education they can speak English. Would you care to say, I'm thinking about them specifically because I think about my life over there and what some of the women had to go through over there. Would you want to say something that would specifically let them know that people think about them and that they do speak up? The women in Arabia just got the right to drive just about a year or two ago. Big event.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very hard to speak for all women. And it's even hard when you're speaking of your own trauma to say, in a way, I'm fortunate. But we are fortunate to have as many rights as we do. But it's never enough. It's never enough. And you always have to keep fighting. And it's really a shame that women have been so denigrated to the point that we have to say it's never enough and we have to keep fighting. We used to be a matriarchal society, and I don't know what happened. When you look at history, what happened here? Where did the goddesses go? But it is something that we all think about a lot. How did it flip? What happened? When did it happen that women became objects and not subjects, not people, and not revered as things, as women who bring in life, who create life, and instead become torn down. So to those women, I would say, I admire their strength. And if they can write and send it out, everybody would want to hear their story.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. Excellent.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, if to those women, if you do write, if you are fortunate enough to have the means to express, to show your life story on the page, feel free to send it to us at SWWIM. We would love to look at it. The stories like yours are the ones that we want to amplify and send out all over the world, just to let people know, to wake people up, so that we can altogether affect positive change for all women. And when that happens, it benefits all, as like every study has shown.
Yeah, you've got excellent points there. Absolutely excellent points. And kind of along the same lines here, what we were talking about, it doesn't matter how even the educated, wealthy, who do speak English, incidentally, who've been educated in the West. These are the daughters of the ruling families over there, some of them, in the Middle East. One of them, a couple of different stories here. One was she tried to escape because she wasn't going along with the planned marriage, and she was brought back and imprisoned, and all kinds of stories went on about that. There's, I think, there was even a documentary done about it. There's all over the world, of course, the situation's different for women. They're making progress in India. There has been progress made at a horrible expense, what some of the women had to go through there. Absolutely horrible expenses. But, you have an excellent point there. If they could get some way, get their message out, it could be published, and that's an excellent idea. If I can help in any way in getting that message out, I'll be glad to do it. Believe me, it's excellent, excellent. We want to give some more of your thoughts here before we have to close. We have a little bit of time left, but tell me a little bit more about some of your experiences in when you wrote this. I know you both said you had to dig deep to get your thoughts put together and everything for this. What would be some other things that you'd want to share that you want people to take away from your writings? If you could each give me some examples here, maybe that would really give people, an inspiration to purchase the book, and then in turn to write down their own stories.
I think one of the things, we often say in poetry is that the personal is political. In this case, because we've been talking about politics a little bit, it's really true that, we took it in reverse a little bit and made the politics personal, and then we turned it around again and said, this is personal and it's also political. And in that way, I think everybody can relate to it, because there are people who are trying to control our bodies, and we want control of our bodies. So, whether it's just an individual who is coming across to harass you, an individual who is trying to pin you down physically, or somebody who is politically trying to pass a law and say, you no longer have control over what's going to happen to you on a very physical level, or a medical level, or a psychological level. The personal is political, and that's all over this book.
Right, excellent.
Yeah, I agree, okay. Jen, 100%. The personal is political in this book, and I can't speak for the men in the book, but I can speak for the women, and I know that every single woman on this planet has a story. Like Jen, like me, that story may be buried layers deep in the soil of your being. You may have to, take out a journal if you want to get to it and free write and really excavate some layers to get there. But if you can, if you do, it can be very liberating, like lifting a 20-pound weight from the depth of your being that you never knew was there.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Listen, we have to wrap up here. I'm going to give each of you about 30 seconds to give your final thought here, and then we'll be clear, okay? Tell us your final thoughts here in about 30 seconds, each of you, if you could.
Well, thank you so much for having us, first of all. It's been a real thrill to share this time with you. And just to your listeners, if you're of that mind, please buy the book. Please pick up a copy of Grabbed and explore its pages. And if you can, then write your own work if you feel so moved. Please do, and just know that there's a community of writers and artists and men and women, supporting you and supporting your story and holding that space for you.
Excellent. And Jen, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I'll just add to that. If you do purchase the book, go to the website. There's a lot of prompts on it. There's a lot of interviews with the writers in the book. There's a lot of extra thoughts and space for you to also contribute on the website. And if you do write something and it's a poem and you identify as a female, please do send it to us at SWWIM. We'd love to take a look at it and possibly publish it as well.
Excellent. Thank you both. It's been great having you here today.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for listening. We hope you have enjoyed today's discussion. This has been Coastal Progressive and Rainbow Forum on Society Bates Radio, and I have been your host, Steve Ryan.